Good afternoon and welcome to the official draw of the 2016 OFC Futsal Championship. And it will be participated by 6 teams, the hosts Fiji, New Caledonia, New Zealand, Solomon Islands, Tahiti, and Vanuatu. In front of us, we have Part 1 and Part 2. Part 1 contains the names of the 6 teams, and Part 2 contains a position that each team will occupy in the match schedule. We will draw 1 ball out of Part 1, followed by Part 2, and then we'll repeat this process 5 more times to complete the draw. So without further ado, Ali, if you could start.
Tahiti.
Position 1.
Fiji.
Position 3.
Solomon Islands.
Position 4.
New Caledonia.
Position 5.
Vanuatu.
Position 2.
New Zealand.
Position 6. Thank you, Ali, for your time. Now, this concludes the official draw of the 2016 OFC Futsal Championship. The full match schedule will be sent out to the teams later this week. And thank you all for your time. And we hope to see you in Fiji. Thank you.
So Marvin, there we have it. The draw is done for Fiji next year. What are your early thoughts on how it's looking for New Zealand?
First of all, it's actually quite cool just to be involved in the whole process and see how it's actually done. So thanks for the invite. No, it's cool to just finally have the draw sort of set out in stone, and now it can kind of help you build towards, I guess, that first game, because that's the first game you're kind of thinking about straight away.
You've been here before in this position, going into a Futsal World Cup qualifying tournament. Is it exciting? What do you feel going into these?
It's kind of what you really look forward to as a futsal player. Anytime you get to put on the jersey and represent your country is great. But this is the next step. This is a chance to go to a World Cup, and I don't think it gets any better than that. This is the best preparation we've ever had going in to a World Cup qualifiers. So I think now there's definitely no excuses, and it's certainly up to us as the players to really put together our complete performances and show that we can win this.
So you're here in New Zealand. You got to be part of the live draw for the Futsal Championship. What were your thoughts on experiencing that?
It was great being part of the draw, and since we'll be hosting the tournament, I think it's best that we are here to be part of the draw and get ourselves prepared for the tournament in February. Yeah.
So first up, you're against New Caledonia. That'll be your first match. Any early thoughts on how Fiji's approaching the competition?
Well, for us, as being the host of the tournament, we looking forward for a strong start, so that like it's a World Cup qualifier. So we have to start strong, and looking at New Caledonia in the past, they have they have become better in the past 4 years, and we're looking for a good match in the first game. Yeah.
Yeah. Paul, you've seen the development over the past 4 years in the Oceania region. What are your thoughts now that you've seen the draw on what we're going to see at this competition?
Well, I think for certain, Jackie, it's going to be the closest competition we've ever had in our history. The last 4 years for many of the teams has been about developing, improving, and being able to go to the World Cup and represent OFC well. Previously, we've had Solomon Islands there, and they've really kind of, they've dominated the scene, but it's not like that anymore. I think any one of the teams can stand up and beat the other teams on the day, so it's fantastic.
We heard from a couple of coaches here today about their preparations. New Zealand, obviously, it's been a really long one. Fiji are also gearing up quite far out from the competition. Is that heartening for you, coming from a development perspective?
It is. I mean, it's a contrast, really. New Zealand have worked so hard over the last 4 years. They've been an inspiration to everyone. I think not just with the national team, but the development work that's gone on right through the country to develop futsal. Fiji, it's so good to have them back. They've been away for 4 years, but again, it's not just about the national team. I think we've seen from hearing from Intiaz, the development is a key focus for them. So the next 4 to 8 years for Fiji as well is a priority.
Yeah. And we've heard a lot of the other teams. They've got a lot of matches coming up. Solomons, Australia, and Vanuatu have had some matches of their own. For those sides as well, do you think this is going to be a good competition?
Yeah, I think so. Great to see Solomons back. We know all about their challenges, but I understand they're in Australia this week playing some games, and they'll play the Australian national side in January. So after a long period of inactivity, they're back. New Caledonia, we know their quality from last year's championship, and of course Vanuatu are another side that have worked really well.